Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
A very busy show today on Nevada Newsmakers. It's going to be a hot one, and he's got the rundown.
As controller, Kathy Augustine acts as the state's collections manager, collecting those bad debts out there. But there are those who say we could save more money by getting rid of her position. We'll ask her. Josh Griffin is son of Jeff Griffin, former mayor of Reno. Josh grew up in Reno, but has lived in Las Vegas and has now been elected to the legislature. We'll find out from him what he likes about Las Vegas and get him to answer a couple of questions about some votes he's made. Sam?
At a packed house on the Pundit panel today, Vivian, Freeman, Jim Denton, Ray Bacon, and Barbano. It's all coming up on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Today's lesson, another reason to take the Gold Rush Club Card Challenge. With the Gold Rush Card, you really have 3 cards in one. Use your cash back. You still keep your comps and drawing tickets. Use your comps. You still keep your cash and drawing tickets. And with your drawing tickets, you could win thousands in cold hard cash every week. And still keep your cash back and comps. Does your club add up? Graduate to the Gold Rush Players Club. It's the smart thing to do. The Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV parks.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of Firestone roofing products for any type of roof, from commercial to industrial and residential. With a Firestone roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
Kathy Augustine is the state controller, and Andy wants to know, is she collecting all the money that's due?
Thank you for being with us this morning. That is a large part of your job, is going out and collecting monies that are due the state. Is that right?
That is correct. We have just centralized all this debt collection in the state controller's office.
Now, do you also collect for the Department of Taxation?
No, they do their own collections.
So, and how are they doing with it? You sit on the audit committee. How is the Department of Taxation doing with their collections?
Well, what we have found is they have gone on our contract with OSI to collect some of their monies due, but the Tax Commission had made that decision. But I think that the Department of Taxation could be doing a better job in collecting current and past due receivables.
In what way?
Well, I think they need to automate their system. Right now, everything is coming in via the U.S. mail or a lockbox, and we need to be able to collect payments online. We need to be able to take credit card payments, and that is the direction that my office is moving with the rest of the receivables that are due the state of Nevada.
They're not able to do this via credit card and online at this point?
That is correct.
And about how much? I heard that all they collected of the taxes last year was something like 52%. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't know those numbers.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, that is what you're doing. You've been doing a lot of collections this year, trying to help the money come in, and you've got a bill before the legislature?
Yes, actually, we have 2 bills in the Assembly Government Affairs Committee that we expect a hearing within the next week on both of those bills.
And these bills would streamline your collections?
Yes, it would also put in a statewide fee for bad checks of $25, which is what they are taking in the private sector as well. We know that we currently have $115 million in past due receivables, or over 60 days, that are due the state of Nevada. And so far, we have collected $1.6 million of what's due.
Now that doesn't include the Department of Taxation.
Yes, that number does include the Department of Taxation, and that is the lion's share of the debt that is due the state. We've only had the agencies turn over about $7 million to us, so we've collected about 22% of what has been turned over to our office.
I have to ask this question because I know there are people at home watching right now who at some point in their life have bounced a check, and you don't have any money, so you bounced a check, and now you want to get charged $25. You didn't have the money in the first place. Where are you going to get the $25 from? I've always found a certain irony. I don't expect you to comment, but I'm just saying there's a certain irony to this.
And we add that on to the fee, or their collection, or their debt. And we also add on the fee that the debt collection agency receives, so that the state isn't absorbing that money. We do have a $200 cap now that our legislation we would like to get rid of, so that everybody will have to pay the fee on the debt that's due and not the state of Nevada.
Okay, let's talk about your work on the Transportation Board. Mike Schneider was on here and kind of thought that maybe there were several Las Vegas projects that should move ahead of the Carson bypass. Didn't think there was too much of a problem with traffic between Reno and Carson City when he and his wife were traveling. Your thoughts?
We actually are moving ahead with those Las Vegas projects as a result of the population in the Las Vegas Valley. However, we are also expediting the Carson City bypass project, especially through Carson City. The amount of traffic on Carson Street, as you know, and the large trucks and different things traversing through the town has just gotten to the point where it's causing gridlock. And so we are moving forward, and we condemned some of the property and some of the projects, and the Board of Transportation has decided to move forward with those.
Andy's very grateful because she lives in Carson City.
As does the controller.
Actually, I live in Reno.
Okay, let's talk about something that comes up all the time, and I know you don't particularly like to hear about this, but it does come up, which is, why do we need a treasurer and a controller? If we're looking to save money, can't we get rid of a department and put it all into one?
Actually, there are states that are moving in that direction, but it's not the controller's office that's going away. It is the state treasurer's office, and you saw that happen in the state of Texas. You've seen it happen in the state of Minnesota. Last year, the treasurer went into the state auditor's office, and you just saw that happen in the state of Florida, where they combined the two offices, and now you only have the CFO. Since the state controller is the chief fiscal officer of the state, that is the office that should remain and absorb the state treasurer's office.
Okay, well, we'll be watching those other states to see how it works out. Thanks so much for being here, Kathy Augustine.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
What do you know about the gross receipts tax being proposed in Carson City? This new tax will cost more than $30 million to implement, require lots of new state employees, and take 2 years to generate $1. It will create Nevada's own IRS, forcing anyone who's in business to file a state tax return 4 times a year. The new state agency will have access to all your personal, federal, and business tax returns to make sure you comply. Nevada doesn't need more tax collectors. Call your legislator now and just say no to the gross receipts tax.
At Sushi Club, everybody's family. That's what makes dining here so much fun. The sushi is consistently better, the atmosphere is great, and the service is wonderful.
Welcome to the bigger and better Sushi Club. Come in for our delicious daily specials.
When you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Walk into the Cactus Creek Bar and Grill at the Bonanza Casino, and you know you're in for a very special evening. Enjoy the southwestern atmosphere of some of the best gourmet food in Reno. It starts right here with Chef Bruce Norman and his talented staff. From buffalo T-bone to martini scampi and peppercorn duck. There's fine wine, specialty margaritas, and our pastry chefs create award-winning desserts. The Cactus Creek in the Bonanza Casino, 1 mile north of the university, where locals come to play.
Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Josh Griffin has a unique perspective serving at the legislature. He was raised up here in northern Nevada and now is representing southern Nevada in Henderson.
Josh, thank you so much for being with us this morning, particularly this week. We really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
We know this is a really busy week for you. So what do you think about the differences between Reno and Las Vegas?
Well, outside some of the obvious weather-related issues, I think the thing that I personally like about Las Vegas and Henderson in particular is it's a very optimistic town. Not to say that Reno's not an optimistic town, but the first thing that people say in southern Nevada when something comes up, when a new idea comes up, is yes, let's figure out how we can make that happen. And that's not always the case up here. Not that that's a criticism, it's just a difference. I prefer the southern Nevada perspective.
Okay, now you're right smack dab in the middle of Henderson. You're a conservative. The budgets are staring everybody in the faces. There's a couple of things hanging out there that could be cut. Henderson State College and the dental school. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that those things are certainly on the table. Unfortunately, for those that say that those are the solution, that represents less than, I believe, 1% of the deficit. So while they're on the table because you have to be efficient with what resources you have, there's no way that this state's going to cut its way out of its problem. You just said about being a conservative. If we want to cut $700–800 million in spending out of the Nevada state budget, we will not only devastate education, higher education, and healthcare, we'll devastate this economy. Nobody will want to do business here.
Well, yesterday, the Democrats in Ways and Means voted to do away with the lobbying office in Washington, D.C. to save $245,000. Does it make more sense to cut the Henderson State College than to cut the lobbying office?
Well, again, it depends. I mean, the reality is this. Henderson is one of the largest cities in America that does not have a university, believe it or not. It's about almost a city of 300,000 people, 250 to 300,000 people. Also, as the fastest growing community in America with Las Vegas and Henderson, another university is going to be needed there. So if you cut it today, what you've already been done, you lose the millions that have already been put into that program. You can do it. It's going to come back again, whether it's in 2 years or 4 years or 5 years. That program is needed, and it is needed for the community because UNLV is a landlocked university and it cannot grow much more. Okay,
Senator Washoe has made a proposal to take the excess money down the road from the counties and put that towards the state, really split it with the state. What are your thoughts on that?
I have some concerns about it. I've talked to the senator about those, and I understand his perspective because there is a lot of growth in the property tax collections. My concern about it is that property taxes goes currently to fund local government, our police, our parks, our fire service, like it does it throughout the state. And I think when you start eating into that growth, you do threaten the ability of those local governments to provide those services. That said, the discussion that he's inspired is part of the overall discussion on taxes that I think we all have to have as a state.
The Las Vegas Review-Journal came out and editorialized against Senator Washoe's bill and is sort of citing it as a North versus South kind of issue. On those issues, where do you find yourself falling?
Well, I don't know. I've often said that I don't know that there's as many North versus South issues that a lot of insiders say that there is. I don't know that Northerners wake up and say, gosh, I think the South is out to get us, and I know a lot of Southerners don't get up and say, boy, the North is taking a lot of our money. So I think a lot of those issues tend to be manufactured. I think it's more of a state versus local government issue. And again, I don't think it's intended to be that way, but I think that's the more valid concern. I believe the cities of Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County also have come out in opposition to that bill. I believe they have.
There was a bill last week in the Assembly to prohibit religious discrimination when dispensing prescriptions for people, yes. And you voted against that. I'm curious to know, and you were not alone. You had 15 other people voted with you.
Right. It was an interesting issue because what it was basically doing was preventing a pharmacist from using a moral objection in dispensing medicine. What the issue was if a doctor writes a prescription, why shouldn't the pharmacist be compelled to fill it? Which under this bill they now would be compelled to fill it. But a doctor can have a moral objection to what they dispense, and a doctor can have a moral objection to what types of medical procedures they offer. And I just think a pharmacist ought to have that same right.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, you served to help get several people elected over the past few years. What's the difference between helping people get elected and actually having the job yourself?
It's, you know, you're in the same race, but you're exercising a completely different set of muscles, if I can use sort of an athletic term.
Very well put.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It is much more different than I thought. I think when you're in political campaigns, you lower everything to kind of 30 and 60-second sound bites and what gets the message across. Well, now we're past that. You know, we're not in that situation where you're trying to get a message across. You're looking at, you know, 1,000 pages of state budgets, and you start pouring through these things. I sit on the budget committee and the tax committee, and you start looking. Well, there's not $800 million here, and you know, that's the easy answer is, well, we'll cut $800 million in spending during the political campaign. But as a legislator, it's just not an option.
One quick last question. The Care Amity Service taxes bill is being heard in the Senate this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You supporting Lynn Hetrick's bill, is that correct?
Well, I think I supported Lynn Hetrick's bill as a discussion to get the debate going from the Assembly side. The thing that I like the most about Hetrick's bill was the amount of money that it raised. I certainly think it needs to be more than that, but I think Care Amity raised about $1.6 billion. I think that some other taxes raised about $1.2 billion. This one raises about $600 million. I'm somewhere probably in the middle around there, and more, which is, you know, the conservative side is to be in the middle around there. Make sure that we fund education, make sure that we fund higher ed, make sure we fund health care, and then, you know, worry about the enhancements and all those kinds of things a little bit later.
Josh Griffin, thanks so much for being here. We
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having
Come
me.
back again, would you?
Anytime, I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Enjoy news and a hot brew at Tamarack Junction. Stop in on your way to or from work, follow the market on one of our 32 TVs, and enjoy some fresh brewed coffee and a hot meal. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
Nevada should have a tax system that is fair and balanced, a system that taxes high-end services for the first time, while giving families a tax break by reducing the sales tax on common household products and other major purchases. With businesses and consumers working together, we can have a tax system that is fair to all and meets the growth needs of our state into the future. The legislature in Carson City is currently working on a new tax bill. Call them right now. Tell them you want a lower state sales tax.
We've loosened our machines. We've given you the Gold Dust West Gold Rush Club, Reno's best slot club. You can win lots of jackpots. Play longer. Your points will add up faster than you think. Yeah, we're loose and we're not screwing around. See you at the Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
Treat yourself to a late-night pick-me-up with Hobo Bob's Happy Hour at Tamarack Junction. Enjoy a delicious selection of food and drink specials every day from midnight to 3 a.m. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
We have a wild pundit panel today. Let me introduce them. From the far right over there, we have Ray Bacon with the Nevada Manufacturers Association. Why are you leaning right, Andrew Barbano, over there on that side?
No, I'm just a little sleepy.
Okay, columnist for the Daily Sparks Tribune. Vivian Freeman, newly elected vice chair of the Washoe County Democratic Party. Jim Denton, lobbyist. And over at our microphone, over in the left side, but not leaning that way, is Sam Shad, so that we're all together. You may have noticed an ad you just saw, so I want to point out that these are sponsors from a group that by now should have held a press conference at the legislature having to do with a tax on services. Ray, you're part of that group, would you?
This is the business representatives group that's been working on this whole tax issue for pretty close to 2 years now, and this is kind of the fruition. We're strong supporters of the Care Amity tax bill that comes up for hearing this afternoon. It's not the perfect bill, but at this stage of the game, it's far and away the best of all the tax bills that have been proposed out there, and it does include a tax on services.
Okay, so are you talking about just a tax on services, your group, or are you talking about the Care Amity
We're
bill?
talking about the full package of the Care Amity package.
Vivian, what's wrong with the tax on services?
I think there's a possibility it could become very regressive as the...
No violence. no violence as the sales tax is, but I did hear that apparently there is an income level for the businesses that are involved. Is that true?
Well, that's been one suggestion, that there be a cutoff of some kind.
Okay.
Actually, in the plan that we're proposing, what we do is exempt the services that are primarily bought by everybody. So we take out personal services, we take out insurance because it's taxed elsewhere, we take out casinos because they're taxed elsewhere.
Oh, no, don't do that.
I have the utmost confidence you'll make sure we take care of that issue.
I think gambling is a taxable service.
We take out child care, we take out utilities, we take out all kinds of personal services.
I've heard that in the Care-Amity bill is a paycheck kind of thing.
I don't think you're going to see the Care-Amity bill be the final model of how this thing ends up. I think what you're going to find is you're going to find a services tax model bill that, for all intents and purposes, opts out the consumer.
Okay.
The consumer will not have a services tax to pay, and I think you'll see it with a reduction in the sales tax.
Well, let's see what Sam has to say.
Okay, well, my question is, Ray, somebody's got to pay. Who's going to pay? Where are we actually going to see? Because services tax, to people who are watching, they go, I have no clue what that is. Who is actually going to pay this tax? How will the average member of the public have to pay this?
Well, you wind up with two things. First of all, the biggest chunk of services far and away is it's business-to-business services. It's whether it's companies that are paying for janitorial services or lawn care or legal or accounting or whatever. That's far and away the biggest chunk of services.
So a person who has lawn care won't have to pay this tax?
Well, and that's optional because, if you take a look, people can mow their own lawns, but the people that are reasonably affluent are the ones that typically use a fair chunk of services.
What about advertising?
Well, advertising is clearly out because you get into some real issues with cross-border operations, and we don't want to go make this become a negative thing as far as national advertising, and that's what typically happens. That's what happened in Florida that caused their sales tax on services to falter, was they wound up with the national advertisers banning the state almost.
Well, obviously, these will be argued and many times.
Certainly.
And I think there's a possibility. The duty of the legislators, obviously, is to always remember the people at home, the ones who elected them, and how it will impact their lives. And I remember years ago that Bob Thomas from the city of Carson City wanted a service tax, and it wasn't popular then. I think it has quite a, even with the need for tax dollars nowadays, I think it has a really uphill fight.
Well, I'll tell you this, it's the only proposal I've seen that lowers the sales tax that people pay in the state.
Exactly.
And it would lower the sales tax to 5% from what I understand.
Well, it's a possibility.
And there's so, at this stage of the game, one of the things you always want with a tax policy is you want a tax policy that reflects the state's economy. Services are now over 60% of our economy.
I've heard some concern about collecting the tax. How is it going to be collected if a large casino is using a law firm in Los Angeles? How is that tax going to be collected? Who's going to pay it and who's going to collect it?
It's effectively just like the use tax is now. If I buy a piece of equipment from Taiwan or California or New York, I still wind up owing the use tax on the thing. So the use tax issue becomes the same thing. Now, is it going to be as clean to collect because you've got a physical good? The answer is no, but the simultaneous issue is you're still going to go through the audit process, and the vast majority of the companies are more than willing to do their fair share to pay the taxes.
Speaking of taxes on services, this afternoon in front of that same Senate Taxation Committee, the cable industry has a bill to stick it to the satellite industry by taxing the satellite industry 5%, just in the excuse of leveling the playing field. What it means is stick it to the competition and let the legislature do your dirty work for you.
Yeah, except, Andy, as I remember the way that works, that's not quite how that is. As I remember the way that works, there is a federal law. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here.
Good.
There's a federal law here that says that only states can tax satellites. So what you have is you have a situation here where satellite companies like DirecTV are not being taxed, and other companies like Cox Cable are.
They might be impacted by Mr. Bacon's services tax here, but this is a separate deal for 5% on top of that.
But
so you end up with a tax on a tax.
Right, but the federal law says that only the states can tax satellite companies.
Can I
so what kind of excuse is that?
Because Right now, cable companies are
Sam,
paying for something the satellite companies don't have to.
Let's go to Sam.
You know, I wanted to go back, if you don't mind, to Ray just for a moment here. Everything you say sounds great. The only problem that I see is that over the last few weeks, every time that we talk to anybody associated with the Resort Association, that they're saying that the gross receipts tax is alive and well and that it's going to go through. How is gaming going to take your proposal?
Well, let's start off with the gross receipts tax as being touted as being a broad-based tax, when by definition, the way the tax is currently being constructed, you wind up with 50 to 62% of the businesses out of the thing almost immediately. That's not a broad-based tax. The services tax is clearly a broad-based tax, and we think that, quite frankly, when people take a look at both proposals, we've got them hands down.
Okay, but the big question, Ray, is do you have the clout to get this done? Is business now going to have more clout than gaming on this issue?
Time will tell.
You know, Sam, I think it's going to be interesting because I'm not sure that clout's going to win this argument this year as much as which raises the most money wins.
Okay, we're going to have to leave for now. We'll be right back after these messages.
If you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club. Year after year voted the best place for sushi. 11 chefs on staff to serve you. Better ingredients for consistent high quality. And lots of room, so bring your friends. Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us. In Reno, say El Dorado. And live the excitement. El Dorado. Reno, shining star. Live the excitement.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, consistently voted Reno's best buffet by locals. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
And we'll have more discussion on this bill coming up tomorrow for sure.
Oh, yeah, lots more, particularly since our guest is Pete Ernott, who, of course, works for Jones Vargas and a few other organizations. Give us an overview. And we've got a couple of legislative interns to give us an inside view of what goes on at the legislature.
We'll see you tomorrow.